Sergio Perez's future with Red Bull remains a contentious issue as discussions between the team and the Mexican driver continue. The situation is proving problematic for the Austrian outfit, particularly due to Perez's substantial financial backing and the demands tied to an early contract termination. Red Bull is reportedly struggling to meet the payout Perez is seeking, which would also affect their budget cap. This raises a critical question. Can Red Bull afford to jeopardize their performance in the Constructors' Championship to correct the perceived misstep of prematurely extending Perez's contract? Furthermore, such a decision could have significant implications for their junior driver program. If you are interested, subscribe to the channel so that you do not miss the latest news. Let's keep going. Currently, one of the most talked about uncertainties in Formula One revolves around Perez's future with Red Bull, particularly regarding his role as Max Verstappen's teammate in 2018-2025. Perez, for his part, appears intent on fulfilling his contract, though reports indicate that Red Bull has already engaged shareholders keen to explore alternative options. The financial burden of severing ties with Perez is the primary roadblock. While initial reports suggested that terminating his contract early would cost €6 million, recent estimates place the figure as high as €75 million, a sum that has fueled widespread speculation. When asked about his situation, Perez confirmed that discussions are ongoing with all parties. He remarked, "Right now, I don't know what the future holds with Red Bull. I have a contract to race next year, and unless something changes soon, that's the plan moving forward." Perez further acknowledged that both sides are striving to determine the best path forward, saying, "We're in talks to figure out the next steps. More discussions will take place in the coming days to better understand the situation from both perspectives. If no agreement is reached, I still have a contract for next year." Former Formula One champion and Sky F1 pundit Nico Rosberg has also weighed in on the matter, emphasizing Perez's financial backing from Carlos Slim. Reflecting on Perez's performance struggles, Rosberg commented, "Sergio Perez's form has been one of the great puzzles of recent times. How can someone lose their pace so dramatically? He's been consistently far behind Verstappen, often by 6 or 7 tenths, which is a massive gap in Formula One. That's why the rumors point to Perez being on his way out," Rosberg explained. However, he hasn't confirmed it yet, as he reportedly has a contract for next year. "We've heard figures like €16 million being discussed, and he's determined to secure that money. He's not going to step aside easily, and it seems there's a legal negotiation underway." Rosberg also shed light on the difficulties Red Bull faces due to their budget cap. Buying out Perez's contract would strain their finances, potentially limiting their ability to develop their car for 2025. Despite the increased wind tunnel time they'll receive, much of their budget might be diverted to severance payments and integrating younger drivers into the team. While these drivers show promise, they could also introduce risks like crashes and expensive repairs, further complicating the situation. Red Bull now finds itself in a difficult position that no Formula One team wants to face. Whether they choose to keep Perez or move on, the resolution is unlikely to be smooth. Shareholders will need to weigh the trade-offs carefully. If Perez remains for 2025, Red Bull may need to lower their expectations, with even a P3 finish in the Constructors' Championship being seen as a success given his current form. This challenge is further exacerbated by the rapid progress expected from rivals like Ferrari, McLaren, and Mercedes in 2025. Releasing Perez comes with its own set of risks. Not only would it be a significant financial hit, but it would also leave Red Bull navigating the uncertainty of finding a suitable replacement. Promising talents like Liam Lawson or Ayumu Iwasa could be promoted, but it's unclear if they can match Verstappen's performance or fully exploit the RB21's potential. Complicating matters is the emergence of Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who might disrupt the top teams but could also bring inconsistency to the grid. Initial projections suggested Perez's buyout would cost €16 million, but that figure is now ballooned to €75 million when factoring in all associated expenses. Former Bridgestone engineer Kees van de Grint, speaking to Viaplay, weighed in on the matter. "It's hard to understand what's happening between Perez and Red Bull. I don't think he's leaving voluntarily. He seems unwilling to step down. There are two outcomes. Either he races next year, or Red Bull pays him an enormous sum to leave. The real question is, how will such a buyout impact Red Bull's finances? During the discussion, host Allard Cal speculated, "I believe the buyout figure is somewhere between 50 and 65 million euros. Van de Grint countered, "I think it's even higher. 75 million euros seems like a reasonable estimate. You're essentially buying out 2 years of his contract. That's why this decision has to go to the shareholders. It's not something Marco or Horner can resolve independently. The stakes are far too significant." The situation becomes even more complex with the involvement of Perez's primary sponsor, Carlos Slim. Reports suggest Slim has made it clear that if Perez leaves Red Bull, his financial support will also be withdrawn. This places additional strain on Red Bull's shareholders, as losing Slim's backing could have far-reaching consequences, particularly with the 2026 regulation changes and the debut of Red Bull's new powertrain looming on the horizon. Cal further elaborated, "This is exactly why Marco says the shareholders have to make the final call. Neither he nor Horner can decide this alone. When you consider the money needed to buy out 2 years of Perez's contract and the potential loss of Slim's investment, the financial repercussions could be devastating. Releasing Perez would place Red Bull in a difficult position as they contend with the constraints of the budget cap and the need to prioritize car development for future seasons. Perez's financial backing from Carlos Slim over the next 2 years remains a pivotal factor in Red Bull's deliberations. The sheer scale of the potential payout means that Red Bull's Thai and Austrian shareholders must weigh the costs carefully, with Helmut Marko and Christian Horner lacking the authority to make this decision unilaterally. Van de Grint suggested that the shareholders might ultimately conclude, "This is too much, let's stay the course." For some time now, it has been no secret that Red Bull has considered moving on from Perez. However, his current position gives him significant leverage. This situation highlights just how central financial considerations are to Formula One. Perez's sponsorship deals and the lucrative terms of his contract have made Red Bull hesitant to take bold steps, such as promoting younger drivers to the senior team. However, keeping Perez on contract may ultimately prove more expensive than parting ways. Red Bull must consider the broader implications. They've witnessed promising performances from drivers like Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson, both of whom have shown potential. If neither is promoted by 2025 or 2026, they could look for opportunities with rival teams, a significant risk for Red Bull, particularly with the introduction of an 11th team on the grid. Christian Horner has confirmed that if Perez were to be replaced, the team would prioritize promoting from their current driver pool. External candidates like Felipe Drugovich are reportedly no longer under consideration, as Red Bull remains committed to its traditional approach of promoting drivers from within the academy. Tsunoda earned 30 points during the 2023 season, while Lawson secured 4 points in just 6 races, impressing the team with his performances under difficult circumstances. Horner has expressed particular interest in Lawson, considering him a strong candidate to replace Perez due to his ties to the Red Bull Academy. Horner stated, "I think Liam has done a very good job, especially given the challenging circumstances. If you analyze what he's achieved in the time he's had and the race pace he's shown, it's been impressive. Yuki has also done well. So, if any changes were made with Checo, these two would be the candidates we'd consider." As it stands, Lawson appears to have the edge in Red Bull's internal discussions. However, the team is under pressure to make a decision soon, as any delay could destabilize their driver lineup and risk disrupting their long-term plans. If a change occurs, Lawson is likely to be promoted to Red Bull, with Tsunoda staying in the AlphaTauri seat, where he would compete with Isaac Hadjar. Hadjar has been a standout in this year's Formula 2 championship, which came down to the final race in Abu Dhabi. Despite Tsunoda's promising tire test with the RB20, it seems unlikely that Red Bull will bring him up to the main team. One key factor hindering Tsunoda's promotion is his close relationship with Honda. This connection raises concerns that Tsunoda could leave Red Bull for Aston Martin, especially if the Silverstone-based team becomes more competitive under its new leadership and the 2026 regulations. Reflecting on the situation, Tsunoda shared a balanced and optimistic view. "The Abu Dhabi post-season test was so much fun. It's the first time in 4 years I've driven a different car, and you can really feel why the RB20 has been fighting for a championship this year. It's completely different to drive. I feel like the car suits my driving style, and I haven't had much trouble adapting." Even on long runs, I've been consistent and able to sense the car's limitations. When you don't have confidence in the car, it's hard to push its limits. But this test gave me that confidence. I'm happier than ever right now, and focused on ensuring the team gets the data they need from each run. That's the most important takeaway from this test. As Red Bull navigates this complex situation, it's hard to ignore the strategic role Sergio Perez has played in securing his position within the team. Did Perez outmaneuver Red Bull by solidifying his contract earlier in 2024? What's your take on Red Bull's current predicament? Could letting go of Perez and promoting a younger driver like Lawson or Tsunoda be the right move? Or would it risk destabilizing the team further? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video to the end. See you in the next video.